Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice and to My Choice Tuesday. I have long been wanting to hear a particular performance. I've been debating, should I put this up on the channel or should I just watch it on my own? And I think ultimately that it's going to be really fun to do with you all today. This is going to be The Sound of Silence again. So we've done this before and we've listened to just the music video as performed by David Draiman and Disturbed. But this version we're going to watch today is a live performance inviting Myles Kennedy to sing along with David Draiman. I really enjoyed hearing Myles Kennedy sing Watch Over You recently. I thought it was just fantastic. And I'm intrigued by the idea of both David Draiman and Myles Kennedy singing together. Simon and Garfunkel, when they performed this, often would perform it with really tight, pristine, almost delicate harmonies. So this is hearkening back to them. And I'm really curious how these two guys who have much more robust voices are going to turn this into their own thing. So let's get to it.
Up in the air, people, now's the time. Darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
Oh man, there's so many pieces of this that really remind me of Simon and Garfunkel's performance. A lot of times when they would sing it together, it would just be like an acoustic guitar and their two voices. And a lot of times their timing was just spectacular, but then you would get to a final S and one would hit the S before the other one, which is what just happened here, which is very interesting. But there's also they're absolutely echoing the delicacy of Simon and Garfunkel and the way that they, it's like singing sometimes on the edge of the sound. There's not like tons of core in the sound. It's light. It's like barely willing to talk into that silence. And I think that that is a very interesting and dominant way of beginning this song, as if even in the music you have this minor sense all around you when it first starts, like as if it's quieting and it's a very deep message to relate. And I like the way that they have kept this delicate approach for the beginning. I'm curious where it's going to go because it gets really big in the music video version. But let's go back a little bit.
Left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
I also want to say I really enjoy the harmonies in this a lot. I think that they're sticking pretty closely to the Simon and Garfunkel original harmonies here. I just really like that it's truly harmony most of the time during this verse. And then at the very end, it goes into parallel octaves. And I think that's really, really well written. It's a way of sort of stapling that it's the end of a phrase. Oh, let's go back once to hear that.
Within the sound of silence.
By the way, I realize I use the word octave a lot and I don't explain what that means sometimes. An octave is when you have the same letter note. So maybe it's a C and another C, but they're separated by usually 8 intervals in between, essentially. So if I said, this is a C, this is a C, an octave above. Or I could say this is an F, and this is an F, an octave above. So same letter, but it's usually once removed. If it was 2 octaves, it'd be twice removed. Okay, let's keep going.
Through restless streams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stared by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence.
I got excited when I started to hear Myles add a little more core into that sound. Myles has like a brilliant bite that can happen in his sound, which I hear in David Draiman's voice as well. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to hear this so much, because I feel that there is a similarity in their voices. And when Myles started to bring in a little more volume here, I suddenly got this almost like a sympathetic buzz between their voices and how they go together. I think that is really cool. I think he also did a slightly different harmony in there that was very interesting. Let's go back a little bit. Right there. There's something in their styling too that's very, very similar. I'm going to keep listening and figure out what it is exactly, but this harmony, I'm going to go back to it. I like it. It's just, I think it's a slight variation from the original, and it has, it feels like it just has more Myles in it and more David Draiman at the same time.
I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stared by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence.
And right there, you hear again this sort of staggered S. I wonder if they're very intentionally doing this to harken back again to how Simon and Garfunkel would perform this live. I'm curious, because it seems like it's intentional, because every other consonant has been like very, very carefully timed. Even the way that they're shifting to different vowels seems like it's very much in sync. Okay, I think we have a big moment coming. Hopefully.
Silence, and in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs and voices never share.
Wow. Oh, that is some great combination of the voices. Again, that buzz, it's like you can hear them both shimmer in a very similar way. These voices were meant to go together. I really wish I could be in a room and have one on one side and the other one on the other side, and like be in the middle as those sound waves collide and hear what sort of sympathetic vibrations those two sound waves create. I think it's just really cool. Something maybe about how their vocal tracks are shaped. There's just something very similar. If we were to take a look at a visualization of both of their voices, I think we'd see like a similar brighter area where that buzzing is occurring in both, which is fascinating to me. I gotta shout out to Myles here. Holding and like repeating that top note over and over takes so much control. And to do that also without blasting the lower voice away is hard. Voices are louder when they're higher, usually. It takes it often takes a little bit more lung pressure that is gathered essentially beneath the vocal folds, and that's going to create more volume. And you need that a lot of times to sing a higher note. You don't have to have it, but there does seem to be a correlation of those two things going up at the same time. Meaning higher notes and loudness. And this is very difficult to be singing really at the top of his full voice range here. He's not flipping over into falsetto. That would be much easier. But he's singing in that full voice to really be matching the same timbre that David Draiman has here. And that's super hard. It's like it wants to go flat so badly when you're having to reattack a top note like that. And I think he even shifted one of the pitches a couple times, which helps to reassert that top note. So we're going to go back and listen to that one more time. Love the crowd response.
People talking without speaking.
That, what Myles is doing right now is really tough.
People writing songs and voices never share, and no one dare.
I need to check something out. I know this sounds really weird, but I'm looking at the tongue position that Myles is using to create an N. This is so interesting. I see the tip of his tongue coming out, and it looks like it's actually connecting with the top lip a little bit on those N, that no one and never. I think both of those. Usually for an N, you leave your tongue inside behind the top teeth. N. But I'm wondering what the purpose of that is. He's a very deliberate singer with his technique, so never. It gives us the same impression of a consonant. But I bet that there is a specific reason that makes maybe that really high sustained note a little bit easier to produce. I'm not sure what it is. I would love to ask him. Let's go back one more time. Notice that.
Disturb the sound of silence.
Beautiful.
You do not know. Silence like a cancer rose. Hear my words and I might teach you. Take my arms and I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops fell.
I want to go back. I love, again, there's this like a symbiotic relationship between their voices. There's something that's just fantastic. It's the sound of bite. It's the buzz. It's like this combination. Both of them have, it sounds like some openness in their throat. It feels very open through here, but then they have so much focus in this area as well. I love the gruffness that both of these voices have. They also both seem to, whenever they add a little bit of texture, like a tiny bit of distortion in there, it seems like they're adding it in the same way. And it just creates a really fantastic combo together. I want to go back a little bit. I love this outfit too.
Silence like a cancer rose.
So powerful.
Hear my words and I might teach you. Take my arms and I might reach you.
That is such a high note that Myles is belting. That's crazy. A shout out to the timpani and the background as well. It's pretty rare, I think, to see timpani in a live concert that isn't a full symphony playing. And I feel that it adds so much to the song. It has really that like this epic oomph. Timpani, I often associate like a timpani roll, that moment before there's a big reveal, and it just is a great sound in this song. So really excited to hear that. Let's go back a little bit again. Look at the way that David Draiman is so grounded in his support. I remember thinking the first time seeing the music video, I was like, wow, this just sounds amazing. I wonder what he looks like when he performs this live. And this is the answer. He is rooted. His support is so low. It's just amazing. And I love the way he has like just like a slight turn, like he's embracing the audience. It's funny. Myles looks like he's like more inward as a performance, maybe a little more experiencing of pain and just channeling it into the microphone. David seems to have this opening up to the audience. So rooted. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. We have live strings as well. This is brilliant. I love it when we get orchestral or symphonic instruments that are brought into metal and brought into rock. I think it adds a beautiful layer of sound. Anyhow, I'm always a sucker for that. Nice tuning there. Ooh, did we cross voices there? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So David Draiman then took that note up like he did in the original, I think, or in the music video that I listened to. And he sustained it with that distortion on top. Really lovely. I think that's area epiglottic distortion, FYI. But not positive. So at that point, when he was sustaining that higher note, Myles actually took it and went down below. And I think that's the first time that Myles has gone underneath David Draiman's pitch. It's a cool cross. Whoa, I think they just did it again. This is, I love it that you still have this feeling of almost anger at frustration in this. This is one of the reasons why I think that this is one of the better covers of all time. I feel like Disturbed's version of this song brought a new meaning and like a revelation of how a person might have evolved over time listening to the song. I know I can't go back to the original and think about it the same way. It is forever changed for me because of Disturbed's music video on The Sound of Silence. And that's largely because of the passion and the emotion, this like anger, disappointment, all of those emotions that David Draiman's voice was bringing to the performance. And I love that you hear Myles in this as well, and you hear him with that same powerful emotion behind. And it sounds like it's even more bold and willing to blast out. I love this song. And the sun flashed down its warning, and the ones that it was forming. In the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls. So I think we crossed again there. I think we had David on top for just a little bit and Myles went underneath.
Some of the prophets are written on the subway walls.
Did you hear that flip essentially where David's voice has a little bit more grit in the top, which is one of the ways I'm able to go like that one is there because really truly they have a lot of similarities.
Tenement halls whisper in the sun of silence.
Oh, that was beautiful. That sounds like, I think that Myles finally decided to do this last part because you have that soft, like purity and like it's almost like a teardrop falling, right? It has this beautiful sadness at the end. And it sounded like he flipped into falsetto to help create that sound.
Of silence.
And both of them really draw out the end for that. Oh, that's super pretty.
Of silence. Give it up nice and loud for Mr. Myles Kennedy.
This is a truly lovely combination of voices. I've been wanting to listen to both David Draiman and Myles Kennedy a lot more, so I really couldn't pass up the chance to hear them together. And I was not disappointed in listening to how their voices meld together. It's truly special to me when you have two voices whose anatomy and production, for whatever reason, they just magically fold together in this beautiful way. It's not very often that happens, really, truly. Singers can tilt their resonance or the production to be closer to another singer's, but for the natural sound of both to go so well together is very difficult to find. I think of in opera, Anna Netrebko and Alina Garancha. That was a very beautiful combo. And that happens every now and then, but it's super, super duper rare. So I hope that these two do way more performances together. There's something that just vibes the right way. And this was a great song to choose to do together. Myles's ability to hang out on that top note and have like just a slightly thinner sound than David's sound up there. It worked and it balanced David's gruffer, more robust round sound in the bottom. And then I loved the way that they flipped a few times. So when David was holding out that pained top note with lots of gravel, then Myles could go down underneath and do something that was interesting. So as not to take away from that big moment that David Draiman was singing, but to add like a little echo of an additional emotion underneath. It was very very thoughtful way of combining harmony, I think, and it played to both of their strengths very well. So thank you so much for listening to that song once again on this channel on My Choice Tuesday. I would love to know what other recommendations you have, especially if you have more David Draiman or Myles Kennedy recommendations. Please put those in the comments below this video. And you can also find me here and chat with me on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Arizona time. That's when we have premieres, and there's a live chat, and there are 0 advertisements during that time. Additionally, you can find me on Patreon, and if you want to learn more about singing or music in general, you can take my courses at thecharismaticvoice.com. I'll see you somewhere soon.